And hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tech Informist. My name is Kevin Harvell, if you don't know me, because I've been gone for what seems like forever. And I'm joined today by Brad Whiteside. Brad, how are you?
Pretty good, Kevin. How about you? Glad that you're back.
Yeah, back safe and sound from Vegas. I noticed whenever I got back, my dad picked me up at the airport, and he's like, "So, how was your trip?" I'm like, "It was pretty good. It was a nice time, and it's interesting driving around here in St. Louis. One of the things I told him was there sure aren't as many lights out here."
Yeah, we're a little dark compared to most cities.
Yeah, but no, Las Vegas. It's a great place to visit. Not sure I'd want to live there, but it is very fun. It's so easy to get around actually in Vegas. We rented a car because I feel that seems to be the best way to do things is just rent a car, stay at one of the little smaller places outside of the main strip area, and just drive around because driving around there's not too bad actually. Not too bad at all. And you're going back in late
October.
October.
Yep.
Yeah. To get married. So sorry, ladies.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Brad is taken.
Indeed.
Yeah. So no, it'll be good. It'll be fun. I think you'll have a really good time out there. And how long are you gonna be staying while you're out there?
We'll be there for 3 days, I think, before
3 days.
we head off to the Caribbean.
Head off to the Caribbean for honeymoon time.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. It'll be fun. You guys are doing a cruise, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cruises are some of the best ways to have a vacation. Do you love it?
I've heard that. So we've never been on a cruise, either of us. So I figured, hey, why not? I
Yeah,
wanted to do something tropical.
something tropical. You're going to be doing something tropical. I guarantee
Little
that.
drink with one little fancy umbrellas and a straw in it.
Plenty of those. Plenty of those. So, the Tech Informist, in case you're tuning in for the first time, is a tech related podcast intended to help educate and inform listeners such as yourself about the growing and fast changing world of technology. You can find us and just join us on Twitter. We really love interacting with people. You can find me on Twitter at Kevin Harvell, and you can find the show on Twitter at Tech Informist. And you can also find Brad on Twitter as well at holy_shadows. So I know Twitter is one of Brad's favorite ways to communicate with people as well. And
It's just the easiest because that way you don't get a big long conversation. You can just say what you want to say and leave it at that, and then somebody can say something else and leave it at that.
right.
I had
Yeah.
actually we were cleaning this weekend, and I sent out a tweet towards Rod Ferguson, one of the executive producers of Gears of War at Black Tusk Studios for Microsoft. They had rehired him um, since he left for from the third Gears of War. I tweeted him out, and my tweet kind of blew up, so I was pretty excited about that.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always good to have somebody that you kind of look up to and respect in whatever field it is that you pretty much follow, and have them whether they just a simple reply and things like that. I just really like Twitter for that reason.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can reach, these real high standing people that otherwise you just would never have any conversation with. And that to me is really cool. I'd actually tweeted one of the guys over at IGN. He's head of their Xbox podcast, Ryan McCaffrey.
Okay.
And I just kind of tweeted him like, hey, man, I love your show. You're the reason I come to IGN now for most of my gaming news. And I just want to let you know you're a real cool guy. And it really made his day, he said. So I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah, just
So,
just something simple. You never know what mood you're going to catch somebody in, and if you can
yeah.
help brighten somebody's day just by sending out something like that, just take a few seconds, type it up, boom, send it out. Yeah, you never know. It's good stuff. I haven't really spent a lot of time at IGN in a while, and I know it's completely different from when I spent a lot of time over there. But
Yeah, I mean, they do have a lot of ads. I know they have like a service that you can get now. It's like $30 a year to get rid of some of that. But I mean, you can also use a web blocker or whatever, and it kind of tames them down. But I really do like the content they put out. They seem to be the Windows Central or the Android Central of gaming world. They just they get the tips first that people know them, respect them, and I usually go there for game reviews too because I feel that they're pretty solid. But
Yeah, I've actually been associated with IGN since like 2000.
oh wow,
And yeah, so for 15 years now, I've had an account at IGN. And, I originally first got into IGN back with what was it? No, because the Dreamcast came out in 2001. But that's when I was really kind of got into their like forums, was looking at different ways to uh, use the Dreamcast and play online, obviously using 56K modems back in that time frame. Trying to find the cheapest way to do that. And that's how I got into the forums and created my account and stuff. Otherwise, I just kind of like browsed around. But wow.
Well, first time I got into them was the Nintendo GameCube days when they were releasing the Metroid series, and
Yes.
we were all excited for the Metroid 2 Prime, or Metroid Prime 2 Echoes is what it was called. Good times.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how that website has grown over time.
Oh yeah,
it's really good stuff.
In fact, real quick, they do have the new trailer of the Jurassic Park and Halo 5 up on their site, so you could go check that out. Time for some news.
Yeah, time to get into the tech news of the day, and we'll go ahead and kick things off with MakerBot is reporting to be laying off approximately 20% of its staff, which, they have approximately 500 or so employees. So that means about 100 people are going to be out of a job at MakerBot. And I believe they're also going to be closing down 3 of the retail stores, which I want to say that's the only retail stores that they have. But I know if you go into, your local Home Depot may actually have a MakerBot place set up inside there, which always surprised me that they would actually have something like that. But it was pretty nice to actually have that. And it kind of makes sense because you can use these things to build tools. You can use these things to build parts. And showing my dad some of the videos and things, because when he was over for Easter, we were talking about 3D printing and things like that, stuff he had seen on TV as well, about because he's into classic cars and people are making these little classic car parts and things for taillights. And I found a video and was showing him, how all this stuff works, and he was just blown away with the whole 3D printing aspect of this, and it is really, really interesting technology.
Yeah, 3D printing is some cool stuff, but I feel like the reason that they're dropping 20% of their employees and closing some retail stores, they're a company and they want to make it, but 3D printing hasn't quite caught on yet because it's still right at that area where it's a little expensive for most people, myself included. Right. And I mean, if you wanted to get one that you can afford, I mean, you can make very little with it because it's so tiny, and you'd have to piece together a lot of things. Whereas, like, some of the bigger ones, you can just make one big, object or item, and that'd be that. No no assembly required.
Yeah.
But so do they do the metal units and the plastic ones? MakerBot?
You talk about making
like metal items. Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure if they also do different materials as well. I know there's a lot of smaller companies out there that, I've seen some really neat ones on Kickstarter that, do engraving and all sorts of things just by swapping out different tips. And so I'm not sure if MakerBot themselves have that capability, but I know MakerBot's one of the more popular names when it comes to
definitely
consumer-based 3D printing. Usually you'll see those, in you know companies' offices and things like that, where they're just playing around with things. I
Hmm.
know at CIC here in St. Louis, there's one or two companies there that they've got like three of them on this, on a rack that you can go by and see what it is that they're printing out at the time, and it's always interesting.
I wanted to say that the Microsoft store had,
Yeah,
was it a
MakerBot.
MakerBot?
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
they
and
have.
then you could just go up and be like, "Hey, make me this thing," and they'd whip it up, and hey, come back in an hour, it'll be ready for you.
All right.
Just whip it up right there. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, I know the filament and stuff like that's not cheap, so that you can get the transparent and all sorts of different colors to.
One of the coolest things, in my opinion, that I've seen people make is they'll take weapons out of Destiny, and
Mhm.
they'll make piece by piece, and then you piece it together, and then you paint it up as like a prop for a cosplay,
Oh yeah.
and it turns out awesome. I wish I could do that.
Oh yeah. Somebody that's good in graphic design or computer aided drafting. Man, just seeing some of the plans that there's a couple websites out there.
Yeah, a couple websites you can just download the blueprint for it pretty much, and I mean if you're even halfway decent in painting, you can make it look pretty cool. So
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just really, really, really nice technology. I actually would love to have one. I don't really know what all I would make with it, but I would love to have one.
same. I don't know what I would make, but I would love to play around with one.
I'd probably make. I don't know. I'd probably be making little toy figurines or something silly like that. But
Oh yeah.
we'll see. All right. So talk about Norway.
All right. Well, Norway is going to be the first country to turn off FM radio in 2017. Um, the Minister of Culture announced this week that the national FM radio switch off will commence in 2017, allowing the country to complete its transition over to digital radio. That's pretty ambitious if you were to put that here in the US, because most of us drive around in 10, 20-year-old cars. And they don't have digital tuners. My car does not have a digital tuner, so I would be in trouble.
Yeah, you'd have to replace your head unit for sure. And
Oh yeah.
it's one of the things like my car. It's just a little Ford Fiesta, and what Ford did, it's a very proprietary head unit. I'm sitting there looking at them like, how would I even replace this stereo if even if I wanted to? And I'm looking at them like, I don't really think I could, just because of the specific design. It's kind of like a upside down triangle.
Yeah,
It's
so
just really weird.
Ford is actually kind of like, they'll do things like that. Like, so when we get a car in at work and it gets wrecked, and sorry, we're going off into the weeds here a little bit, but we get a car, it gets wrecked. They'll send us a brand new cover, and the front cover will just be destroyed. But they want it back as a core because they don't want, Joe Blow down the street to pick up that core, repair it in some way, and try to put it on their vehicles. They want fresh covers on their vehicles now. They don't.
Right.
They don't want any of the used, rehashed stuff where people may not be educated enough to know how to repair it properly. So they just, it's like, well, you send this back or we charge you more. Which one you want? It's like, well,
Right.
you can have the piece of crap cover. We don't want it anymore. It's broke. But anyway, yeah. Back to the radio thing. I just I don't know. How long do you think it'll be till we see something like that in the States?
I don't know. I guess it just depends on what kind of resistance they get over in Norway. I mean, I don't know.
Well, Norway is a lot smaller too, so I could kind of see, they could take easier statistics like, oh, well, all these people are driving these newer cars that has this tuner in it. Oh yeah, we'll shut it off by 2017. Well, everybody be fine.
Yeah. I mean, according to Digital Audio Broadcasting, it says that they already host 22 national channels in Norway, as opposed to FM radio's 5, And a TNS Gallup survey shows that approximately 56% of Norwegian listeners already use digital radio every day. So, while they're the first country to set a date for this FM switch off, other countries in Europe and Southeast Asia are also in the process of transitioning. I can't even not talk. I guess I left my voice out in Vegas to DAB. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. And according to 2012 Pew study, that was now, of course, that's 3 years ago. Over 90% of Americans still listen to AM and FM radio.
There you go.
At least weekly.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
Yeah, more people are choosing to forego analog radio for internet-only services each year. So, just seems before that'll happen here, but it's not like it's going to be a big major transition. I don't think it's going to kind of be the whole, analog to HD TV and signals and stuff like that. I don't think it will be that extreme, but we'll see. I don't know if there'll be something you can just plug into your head unit and continue on. And
I don't know if they make something that would be a simple plug and play. That wouldn't be too expensive either, because I mean, your average person, they don't want to go out and spend $100 whatever just to get a radio that works, well. I mean, some might, I guess, but I mean, my commute's so small, I'd say no way.
Yeah, you get like a 5 to 7 minute commute depending on stoplights. Don't you?
5 minutes, 7 minutes because of traffic. Yeah. So
I think you'll be all right.
Yeah.
You will be all right.
So what about your iPhone 6 battery life?
Yeah, it was one of the things I was worried about. Whenever I went to the Apple store and I was debating on, do I want to get a 6? Do I want to get a 6 Plus? And then I was kind of wanting a smaller device, something that I could use one-handed. So I ended up buying Alejandro's iPhone 6. And so I was like, it feels nice and comfortable. And I knew that it had a smaller battery and, et cetera. But, after going to the conference this last week out in Vegas at New Media Expo, I really realized that, man, maybe I should have went with the 6 Plus, because the battery life on the 6 was really not, I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be super good, but there's a few days that I was really
hurting.
Yeah. It was like, God, I really want to take a bunch of pictures, or I want to do some more Periscope videos and stuff like that. But like, nope, I got to save the battery until a specific time, until I at least get back in the car. It's just, I don't know. And I'm not big on putting a lot of cases on my phones. So, I mean, obviously the best option would be to get a $100 Mophie case to get it a little bit extra juice, but I just don't want to put a bulky case on there.
Yeah. Well, it kind of stinks too, especially when it's like as pretty of a device as that.
Yeah. People are like, oh my God, I can't believe you don't have a case on there. I'm like, well, I'm not a big case person. So
yeah. I mean, I kind of felt like you would have got the bigger one, just because you were rocking the Nexus 6, the 1520. You're kind of used to the bigger phones.
Yeah, typically.
Is it more expensive to get the 5 Plus versus the regular, like $100 difference, or
something? It's in that ballpark.
Okay, so yeah, I could understand why you went with the other one too. It's a little cheaper too.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I might keep it for a while. I might, look to sell it and put that money towards a 6 Plus. We'll see.
I feel like the 6 Plus is almost the perfect size phone for me. Like that 5.5, the 5.7 area. Like I love my Nokia, but it's just a tad too big. The Nexus 6 was almost perfect, but it just a tad too big. Mm-hmm. Just needs to be a little bit under that, and it'd just be perfect for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I saw so many iPhone 6 Pluses at this conference that it was really surprising. Like, wow, there's a 6 Plus. There's a 6 Plus. So, and I knew whenever they announced that they were going to finally come out with this, humongous iPhone that a lot of people would be interested in it, but I didn't realize that many people would be interested in buying it.
Well, if I were an iPhone user, I would definitely have went for the 6 Plus, just because I'm so used to the larger device now. When I go backwards and I look at like my fiance's just regular iPhone, I'm like, man, that screen's so tiny.
I
And
know.
you hear like 4 years ago, we'd be like, oh my God, that screen's huge. It's 4.7 inches.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It. I don't know. I really do. I have to say I do like all the interaction and between integration between the different apps and stuff like that. So it was a really good experience. I just wish the battery life on it would have been
Right, right. Well, speaking of cell phones, I just sent you back the Nexus 6,
yes.
which I had probably the best Android experience I could have
Hmm.
because it was bare bones Android. And like, I can't express enough how much more Android, um, third party device makers need to do this. They just need to drop the crapware because now I'm using the LG G Flex 2 and it is just bundled with all this junk that I don't need. And the worst part, the one thing that drives me nuts about Android, you can't delete it. It's
Yeah.
there forever.
Yeah. Usually the best you can do is hide certain apps and
Yeah,
things like
and
that.
it's like, oh no. So, I mean, I've had some positive things. So, with the G Flex 2 last night, I was playing around with the IR blaster that it has on back with the remote app, and I have an LG TV. So it's like, oh, I see it's an LG TV. So you can actually control this, this, and this. And if it was an LG Smart TV, you can use it as a keyboard and all this other things. I'm like, wow, this is cool. This is actually really cool. I wish my Windows Phone had an IR blaster in the back of it. I would use that all the time.
Yeah, the first time that I got to use, something similar to what you're talking about was with the, I guess it
HTC?
was, yeah, I think it was the M7.
Yeah, oh, okay.
I mean, it's kind of been around for a while, and
Yeah,
it's something so simple.
it is.
You want to overlook it, but just having that, being able to have that experience on your phone right there, it's really a nice little feature. Like you said, it's very convenient. Just be sitting in bed or sitting on the couch, and it's really easy to program. Yeah.
It really is. Like, all you do is you launch the app, it asks you what kind of TV it is, like what brand, and then it'll ask you to press the power button. And you press it, did it work? Yes or no. Press it again if it didn't, and then it'll figure out the code, and boom, it's done. I mean, it even recognized our cheap off-brand Dynex from Best Buy from like 2008. So
Wow.
yeah, so just to give you an idea, like that app really works. And if you have an LG TV and you get the phone, they really work together because it's kind of that Samsung thing where Samsung works best with Samsung, LG works best with LG. It's just how they did it.
Now it's a lot easier to pair up, not necessarily pair up, but I mean to program that to work with your TV as opposed to those one for all remotes from back in the day. That
Yeah, like those dang things, those drove me nuts. You would have to either know the code or do a rolling code to where it found the code, and it'd take
Mhm.
forever. And
Yeah,
now it's just like
they
press
just
a
talk
button
to
and
each
it's
other.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. It really is. But yeah, that so far has been one of my favorite features of the G Flex. Other than, so correct me if I'm wrong, but the Nexus 6 had a quad HD display, right?
Correct. Yes.
So I feel like the screen protector that they'd given me, the like literally bulletproof screen protector, you couldn't crack the screen even if you tried, um, hindered that quad HD experience because I almost feel like the LG pops a little more. Like and even though it's a 1080p screen, like that screen just pops. Like
Yeah.
it's so gorgeous. I don't know if it's because of the OLED they use because it's a curved screen, or if it's the way they color it, I don't know, but it just pops and it's beautiful. And it's a 5.5-inch display, so it's almost the right there. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
LG displays are just beautiful, just absolutely beautiful. That's one thing that LG has gotten right is
Yeah,
their display
absolutely.
technology.
Ever since we bought our LG TV, I don't think I'll ever go anything else. I will be a loyal LG fan for a while.
Life's good.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right.
Which makes me excited. Next week we'll get more information about the LG G4. Well, I guess it'll be next Tuesday, 28th, I believe.
Um, for
In regards to the LG G4.
Oh, right. Yes. Yes, that is coming up very quickly. And so is Build. Is Build next week already?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Mid late next week. I mean,
All
we're already
right.
on April 20th here.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe.
Month is more than half gone. Wow. All right.
Yeah. So
Wake up.
yeah, speaking of the G Flex 2, if you're an AT&T customer, the G Flex 2 will be available on the AT&T network on the 24th for $299.
Now, is that off contract pricing or
No, that'll be a 2-year contract thing.
that's a little rough. 300 for on contract? Ouch.
Yeah, I mean
I feel like Sprint's on contract pricing is, I want to say 200.
wouldn't doubt it. That's one thing that I've noticed a lot here lately. Sprint, or if you do a new contract, you can get a Galaxy S6 for free. I saw a commercial last night, and it just seems like AT&T, when it comes to their phone pricing, are the most expensive.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just recently because when I bought my 920, you could get it on contract with a wireless charger for $100.
Yeah, I remember those commercials too.
That was amazing. And I don't know. I feel like 300 is way too much if you're signing a contract. That's just silly.
Yeah, looking at the other pricing, it's 709 outright, or 300 with a 2-year agreement. So that's just crazy. I mean, we're talking Note 4 pricing here.
Right, exactly. And even the Note 4 at that, I know it's a great phone and a lot of people really like the Note 4, but like these carriers are just gouging the crap out of these phones. I mean, even maybe the manufacturer a little bit. I just don't feel like a high-end phone should be anything above the $400 or $500 mark off contract. There's just no way that they, amount to that, much. I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't know. People, as long as people will pay it, they'll charge it.
Yep.
They will charge it. So the only way to get around that is to not buy your devices from them, or you can always buy things from Amazon, or you can buy things from other places. Was it Newegg? You can buy a lot of devices on Newegg.
Yep, unlocked, no contract.
Yep,
it's a good way to go.
Yeah, so there's some ways around it, not many.
Yeah, not right now. I think in the next 5 years we'll see a lot more options. We're just starting to head towards the route that the EU's already Europe has already been.
Right.
That nobody does the subsidized stuff anymore. So I mean, everybody, they just buy their phones outright, which is part of the reason why Android's done so well over there, because their phones have been cheap. And that's why Windows Phone has done so well over there, because their phones are, cheaper. They can get the cheaper phones off contract and have just enough functionality to get them through to the next phone.
Right.
So,
all right. So there's been a lot of discussion about when Windows 10 is going to be available. I mean, most people here that are listening to this have probably tried Windows 10 Tech Preview either on their phones or their computers. Go ahead and talk a little bit more about when it might officially be available.
So, probably by accident, the AMD CEO revealed Windows 10 is supposed to launch at the end of July. The direct quote that they gave was with Windows 10 launch at the end of July, where we're watching sort of the impact of that on back to school season, and expect that it might have a bit of delay to the normal back to school season inventory buildup. I nobody has said anything on the Microsoft side about this, and I feel like this just might have been a date that maybe they thought it was going to come out. I don't truly believe they know. I don't truly believe anyone knows except for Microsoft. I mean, they might not even know, because if you've tried either of the previews out, you know that Windows 10 is not quite ready, especially for phones.
Yeah.
But no knock to them. It's just, they're still working on it. And I think July is a little ambitious. But at the same time, so the way Windows 10 and from here on out is supposed to work is there's supposed to be 2 major releases per year now. So Windows 10 being the first release, and then if they do the second release, let's say sometime in the fall, I feel like they're going to add more functionality that they've been talking about, what they want to do with Windows 10. So July could be, the first drop of Windows 10, but we're not going to see all those cool features that we want yet. Maybe right away. I mean, maybe in the second or the third, iteration of Windows 10. Yeah, we'll probably start seeing all those cool features that we really want. But I feel like the first drop is going to be kind of like the light switch to flip it on and get it running and get it solid. And then after that, we'll start seeing, once again, all those awesome things like streaming your Xbox One game to your PC while, your wife on the couch watches Netflix or something. That's something I'm very interested in.
Right.
What do you think, Kevin? I mean, do you think that July is a possibility even, or you think that's a little too ambitious?
Now, I think it's still very ambitious, but I'm wondering if this, throwing out there this July timeframe, I wonder if that's still kind of like the OEM, whenever, you can buy a new
that
computer,
could be.
or are we actually looking at when Windows 8 users will be able to actually upgrade to
So there was
the final release?
There was a long rumor a while back where they kept saying that June was supposed to be the RTM, the release to manufacturer.
Yeah.
And then this coming out saying that, customers would have their hands on stuff in late July, early August. It's interesting that both of those still line up, like, actually pretty well, because usually isn't an RTM like a month before the product actually releases?
Yeah, it's a month or so. You can buy machines with the already pre-installed on there, so you don't have to go through an upgrade process or anything like that.
Right. But yeah, it's interesting.
As Daryl says, likely released to OEM.
See, and that's more what I think. I think they might have moved that original rumor of June RTM back to maybe July RTM, and that we'll likely see Windows 10 late August, early September.
Yeah, for people like you and me to be sitting here with our Surfaces or whatever, and just to do hey, Windows 10, there's your upgrade. Here it is. Go ahead and install it with a final version. That give them a little bit extra time to squash some little bugs for the upgrade process, because that's always going to be a roll of the dice.
Well, builds next week. I mean, nobody knows what they're going to show or say. So, I mean, they could very well announce, hey, this is the date.
Yeah, they could probably could have a better chance of a better time frame of what's actually going to happen.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I feel like, January was just that little bit of the tease of like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is our plan. We'll tell you more later. Is always tell you more later. But I think build is the later. This is when we hear all the juicy goodies of inside the so secretive Microsoft lately. We don't hear as much as we used to, I feel.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always fun watching the people in the chat whenever they type something, because this thing's got such a crazy profanity filter on
It does.
all the little stars. It's like, I just said masses, not ASS.
Not to bums.
It's always funny, but Daryl says, my guess is that this means the Windows 10 release to the masses will coincide with the release of new hardware.
And I agree with that. I feel like whenever they, do the final, here's Windows Phone, here's Windows, or well, I guess it's Windows Mobile. I don't know what they're calling it yet. Little M. Here's Windows Phone, here's Windows 10. Hey, here's a brand new Surface 4, Surface Pro 4 rather. Yeah, so many things to get straight.
I can see that happening. Surface Pro 4. And watching, been watching a little bit of golf and seeing some other images and stuff like that. I've been seeing so many more Surface Pro 3s on TV. And I think, what was I watching? Oh, I was actually watching Daredevil on Netflix, and I guess they were using a Surface Pro 2 because it was not a 3. I know that for sure, but it was interesting to see them, use that. Like, oh, check it out. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, the Surface Pro line is $1 billion business now. So, I mean, it's definitely something they're going to keep around because they're making money off of it. So, and we'll see what happens with this regular Surface line, the Surface 3. And if, students adopt this, or your average customer that doesn't, have a ton of money right now, like me, I'm really considering going to get that device. That'd be a really good portable device for me. Just simply being able to Skype somebody or type something up or listen to music on the go. That'd be cool.
Yeah, because it's definitely not going to be some huge gaming machine. We know that.
Well, and see, so I've noticed this, and this is between just like portable and how I work. I don't play games when I'm on the move.
Right.
I just don't. And the games that I do play, they're already in like the modern, the Metro store, or whatever you want to call that, the Windows store.
Mm-hmm.
So being as I don't play too many games on the run, I've noticed that I actually read a lot, and I just constantly am reading, what's coming out and what's new, and occasionally I'll watch a video, and that's kind of the most of what I do on my portable devices. So
yeah, we'll just watch a lot of content.
Yeah.
Yeah, Daryl is our resident Microsoft insider, you would say. And
yeah.
And if you would like to, you can follow him on Twitter at Daryl Pritchard. So that's DarrellPrichard. So at Daryl Pritchard. He would love if you would follow him. He's always looking for new people to talk with, whether it's Microsoft and all that other good stuff. So we always appreciate Daryl and his insight on things going on at Microsoft. So really looking forward whenever Go to Podcast Movement later this summer, late July. I'll actually get to meet Daryl in person. So really looking forward to
nice
seeing him and hanging out for a little while during our other conference that'll be going to later this year.
That would be cool.
Yeah, it is really going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Great guy. Always enjoy talking with him on the phone. So it's really fun stuff. Things like that make, doing podcasts and shows like this so much even more fun, is, meeting people that, listen no matter where they're at. So
yeah, that is cool. Just like our buddy Raul from, I believe, California. Correct me if I'm wrong, Raul.
Yeah, I believe Raul's in the San Diego area. So
right on.
Southern California. Love.
People all over the U.S. listen to us.
Yeah, all over the United States, actually the world. It's actually interesting looking at download numbers and analytics.
Daryl says, hope you don't have high expectations, Kevin.
Oh, I try to keep things. I always have high expectations of everything. So, but I've got faith in you. Got faith in you, Daryl. So Nokia looks to be plotting a return in 2016 to the smartphone market.
Interesting.
Yeah, so as we all know, Microsoft bought the Lumia brand, the Lumia smartphones from Nokia. So now they're going to, whenever they release their next rounds of flagships, they're going to be called Microsoft devices. So not Nokia Lumias.
Well, we've already seen one iteration of that with,
The
was it?
830, I think. That was the first one.
Okay, so, but what about the actual branding that just says Microsoft on the back? Wasn't it like a lower end, like a 535? Or is it the new 640?
It could be the new 640.
I know, well, yeah, it's one of them coming out that, it just says plain Microsoft. And I
Right.
think we're going to see more of that on their products. They're doing more of the Apple approach where every single product they have is going to have the Microsoft logo on it, not just the brand specific logo like Surface always had Surface on the back or had a Windows logo. You know, I mean, Apple, I mean, anything from iPod to Apple TV to MacBook, they all have that nice Apple logo on the back, and you always know exactly what that thing is. I mean, even without the logo, you would know what it was, but I mean, the logo just is, you just know.
Right. Yeah, so, we know 4 years ago, Stephen Elop, Nokia's then CEO, described the company, which was referring to Nokia, as a man at the edge of a burning platform. While its rivals had set the phone market on fire, Nokia had poured gasoline on its own platform by failing to acknowledge that newcomers Apple and Google had changed the game. But so many people have, whenever they hear Nokia, they have such a, kind of a passionate, thought about it. And we always know Nokia's, pretty much known for their quality handsets, durable, dependable. I mean, as you know, with your 920, that thing's a little tank.
Yeah, it was one of the first phones that, since touchscreens have been a thing on phones, it was one of the first ones that I rocked without a case, without a screen protector, the entire 2 years of its life, and it's actually still sitting right here on my desk because it's kind of my clock now, and my GPS. But yeah, it's been one of the best phones I've ever had, and my 1520 as well. In their own ways, they've just been some of the best phones I've ever had, and they're both Nokia phones. So I would be very interested to see what Nokia would do with Android, just for the sake of argument, I suppose, or devil's advocate, or whatever you want to say there. I feel like they'll do a fantastic job. It just depends what kind of crapware do they want to load up next.
Right. So, I mean, reading a little bit more of this article from Recode, it says, the move is driven by Nokia Technologies, which is the smallest of the three businesses that remained after the Microsoft deal.
Interesting.
And alongside its mapping and network equipment businesses. Nokia Technologies is best known for being the arm that licenses the company's massive portfolio of more than 10,000 patents.
So they're wanting to get back into the cell phone market, but then they also have voiced about selling off HERE maps. I don't see them doing one without the other. I feel like if they get into the market, they're not going to let go of maps, but if then they don't get into the market, maybe they just might get rid of maps to begin with.
Well, I mean, if they start releasing more Android devices,
that's true. I mean,
Google Maps, and
yeah, you don't really need. Yeah, okay. I mean, you and JJ say that Waze is really good. That's Google. Isn't that driven by Google, or is that just its own separate thing that Google bought?
Google bought it, and it's still, I believe, in development. Unfortunately, not on Windows Phone. They don't update it any longer.
Yeah, we know why.
Yeah, that's all. That's a whole other show.
Yes,
because you could just go on and on about all sorts of random things like that. But no, no, I think a lot of people would be really happy if Nokia, just got back in and just started releasing handsets and just put it across a broad range of, the OSs. Whether, I mean, I don't know, maybe they would start being able to make Windows phones again and
yeah,
Android
maybe
devices. They're not going to be doing iPhones. We know that.
Right. I almost feel like Microsoft left a bad taste in their mouth for whatever reason, behind closed doors, things that we never hear.
Of course, yeah.
But I mean, I suppose it's possible. I just know that. Well, actually, I don't know. The market is just so flooded on the Android side. I don't know if they could just jump in, feet first and get a bunch of people buying their devices. I mean, maybe after a few iterations of a device and people really know, Nokia makes great devices. It'd be interesting to see if they could topple a giant like Samsung right now because they kind of run the market on Android.
Yeah, I know I would love to have a 1020 or 1520 running Android 5.0.
Yeah.
I think it would be
Clean
phenomenal.
install, clean install.
Yes, clean install, not all this crapware.
uh, anyway,
Yeah, so I mean, I don't. I guess we'll just keep an eye on this story and see. I don't think it's going to be a huge launch or a huge comeback, but
I mean,
you never know.
did their tablet come out yet that was Android powered?
That A1
Yeah,
or N1, whatever.
because they announced it and it was a big thing, but then I haven't heard anything about it since.
The division has released just two products: an Android program called Z Launcher and N1, an Android tablet designed and licensed to another manufacturer that is selling it under the Nokia name in China.
Ah, I
So
see.
apparently, it's just the China. So,
Okay, interesting.
yeah, I don't know. So I don't know if you don't have anything other else for news. That'll pretty much wrap that aspect up.
Yep.
So I'll go ahead and let you lead off with the app and entertainment picks here.
All right, so after Game of Thrones last night, we have this habit of getting my buddy to watch new TV shows. So we're using the HBO Go app, and we're like, hey, you should watch True Detective. He's like, you've got me watching so many other shows. It's like, it's okay, it's okay. It's a mini series, and it's only 8 episodes. It's like, okay, okay. So we were just going to watch one episode, and he actually watched another one right after that because he couldn't wait. But it's called True Detective, and you can find that on HBO Go, HBO Now, and you can also get it on Amazon for $34 right now on Blu-ray. And season 2 actually starts in June. But so each season of True Detective follows different detectives with different actors every time. So the first season has Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson. That alone got me to watch it because I'm a big fan of both. And if you go to IMDb, you can see it has a 9.3 rating, which is pretty good for just about anything. But it's an
Right.
anthology police detective series in which investigations seem to unearth both personal and professional secrets of those involved, within and without, or both within or outside the law. So it's a phenomenal show. And it's almost a must watch, really. It's only 8 episodes. It won't take you long. You could probably power through it on the weekend or something. But I
And there are
highly,
hour
highly recommend
episodes.
it. There's 8.
Okay.
8 episodes. Great, great series. I'm not sure if it's on Netflix. I could actually check while
If it's HBO, I doubt that it is.
That's true. That's true.
So
Yeah, HBO is pretty bad about that, whereas AMC is pretty good about that.
yeah, AMC puts their stuff pretty much everywhere, which is good.
It is.
Yeah, and speaking of AMC, I finally finished Breaking Bad as we were discussing before the show, and gosh, what a fabulous
What a
show.
ride, huh?
What a ride. Unbelievable. Mad props to Vince Gilligan and everybody else involved. Bryan Cranston as Walter White is just phenomenal. What an actor.
If you go to watch Better Call Saul, you can just see how amazing Vince Gilligan's writing has gotten, because Better Call Saul is fantastic. It's it's definitely different from Breaking Bad, and I'm sure it's gonna kind of ramp up in the same way.
Mhm.
But so far it's very different, but it is phenomenal. It's good.
I'm looking forward to it. So, but I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about Daredevil. I started watching. I watched 3 episodes of that so far, and I'm really impressed. The fight choreography and stuff, because there's numerous fight scenes. that I've seen so far in each episode. I mean, he gets into it with numerous people, and it's really surprisingly well done. I'm curious to see how they're going to keep incorporating Foggy as a character. He's kind of a little annoying so far, but I finally got to see Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin. But man, it is really really good, very well written, very well acted, and really liking this.
Interesting.
Yeah, so definitely check this out.
And that's on Netflix. They already dropped the whole season on that, right?
Yeah,
Just like all
13 episodes.
All 13 at once. That's cool. See, I kind of like that about Netflix, where they've been having the original series, like the Orange is the New Black, and House of Cards. I mean, they just drop it all at once, and you can watch till your little heart's desired. You know, just
watch as much or as little as possible.
Yeah,
as you
exactly.
Want. Yeah, it's really good so far. I mean, I'm very impressed with what they were able to do with this.
Interesting. Might have to check that out.
Yeah, if you're into comic books at all and know any of the backstory of Daredevil, I think you'll really like it.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna admit that I'm not really into comic books. I know I'm lame. I'm not as cool as everyone else.
Goodness.
But
I almost kind of wish the same group would do like a Spider-Man, because this Daredevil, man, it's very dark.
Oh, okay. So kind of taking some cues from the not so late Batman that just went by, the Dark Knight series, essentially.
Yes. Yeah, actually, you'll see a lot of similarities there between that and Batman. You're like, okay.
I'm okay with that, because that was one of the first ones that, you know, coming back to the whole comic book thing, and like everything's been ramping up. That's like one of the first ones that just really impressed me was the Dark Knight. It was really good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Dark Knight. You know, and I seen Batman Begins, and I don't know, Batman Begins just did not really do it for me, but
it just kind of fell off on the radar for most people.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go back and watch it, and it's okay, but Dark Knight is really where it starts to get good. I just like the darker, grittier universe, maybe because certain video games have that kind of feel to it, and I just kind of like that when you're, you know, trying to take this almost in a way silly character like a comic book character, but you want to make it like you know, you spin that cool on it, you know, like that coolness about him. And I think that dark grittiness, you know, gives them that cool factor.
Yeah.
You know, it's not so comic booky, silly, colorful. It's more, you know, tame. Well, not tame, but it's more, you know, cut and sharp and cool.
Yeah, it's definitely good. And you know, I know I didn't get a chance to talk about the new Star Wars trailer yet with you. But what were your thoughts on that? Whenever I seen that while I was at NMX, you know, and I was telling some other people about it, I said, you know, the new Star Wars trailer dropped, and they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, pull it, you know. So here we are standing after a session, you know, 3 or 4 of us huddled around a smartphone watching it again. I was like, it looks really good.
So I was listening to Major Nelson's podcast over the weekend. I think they record on Fridays. So they were actually in a meeting at Microsoft for E3, and the trailer dropped. They dropped everything of the meeting, pulled up the big screen, watched the trailer, and talked about it for like 10 minutes before they went back to their E3 meeting, which E3 is like one of the most important days in gaming. You get to, you know, find out what's coming out this holiday season and all that. So for them to do something that incredible that's awesome. You know, that's incredible. But anyway, back to the trailer. I was watching it, and I got chills, and then I saw Harrison Ford at the end of the trailer. I'm like, oh yes, this is excellent.
Yeah.
And I believe Mark Hamill was I guess narrating through that, because so that was also a really good callback to you know, the originals.
Yeah, whenever I'm sitting there watching and, you know, listening to the trailer, and at first, you're hearing, oh, my father has it, my sister has it, et cetera, et cetera. It didn't really sound.
No, it didn't.
So
And
which
that's
kind of threw me
why.
off. And I'm like, well, it's got to be Luke Skywalker.
Oh, I wonder, and I'm just spitballing here. I wonder if they didn't use him as a voice actor for that reason, to kind of maybe surprise a few people when they did that scene with him with the robot arm touching R2D2, because that at that point it's Luke Skywalker. Come
Right.
on.
Yeah, it just did not really sound.
No, it really didn't.
Again, I mean, Mark Hamill was so young back in the original Star Wars trilogy. How he's aged. And
well, I think the thing that he's most known for recently has been playing the Joker in the Arkham series, I believe, for Batman.
Yes,
The Arkham Knight, Arkham City, Arkham Prison, or
Arkham Asylum.
Arkham Asylum, yeah, that's it. So, yeah, I haven't played those. I need to play those.
Oh,
I haven't
played
backlogged on my Steam account. I just haven't got to them.
Yeah, I've only played through parts of the first one, the Arkham Asylum. I guess it was. It's really good. Really, gosh, they did a really good job with those games.
Oh yeah, oh yes.
But I guess we'll go ahead and wrap this thing up. Put a little bow on it. And,
all right, ship it out.
Ship it out, yeah. In fact, I still need to edit and everything with Friday's episode. So I have listened to Monday and Wednesday from last week, and you guys did a phenomenal job.
Me and JJ were pretty proud of Friday's episode. So
okay, well, I need to get kicking on that, get that thing pushed out. So.
Yeah.
So we'll be doing that here pretty soon. Man, I just cannot get rid of this cough. So. Once I get rid of that, I will be very happy.
Real quick, Daryl says that Aaron Paul, which plays Jesse Pinkman, is coming to season 2 of Better Call Saul.
Oh, that's great.
That is interesting. All right. Anyway, take us home.
All right. So anybody would like to leave us feedback, you can send that to contact@thetechinformist. Please just go to iTunes, whether you've got it installed or just install it just for this, and leave us a review, give us a rating, things like that, because that really does help. And it's more and more things that I did learn this last week. iTunes ratings and reviews really help getting your show discovered. So tell a friend, tell numerous friends, check us out. So really do appreciate it. Again, my name is Kevin Harvell. You can find me on Twitter @Kevin Harvell. Brad, where can people find you?
@holy_shadows on Twitter.
Right. So everybody, thank you so much for listening. Thank you everybody for watching and participating in the live chat, which you can always do every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time by visiting thetechinformist.com/live. So again, we appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you all so much. And until next time, consider yourself informed. We are